After breaking the first round curse last season, there has never been more pressure on the Toronto Maple Leafs to go on a further cup run this year. But with Kyle Dubas gone, new management in, and some unanswered questions about the roster, are the Leafs going to be good enough to do well this year? Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm taking a look at the Toronto Maple Leafs team ahead of the season. This is a very premature video, however, we're only a few weeks away from training camp and we're less than 2 months away from the start of the season now, so I figured I could do an early look at the Leafs for the upcoming season. There's still lots of time for changes to be implemented, however, the team might stay the same as it is right now, although we won't get into the salary cap issues today because that is a whole other topic. The most pressing matter for the Leafs right now is the Auston Matthews extension. Auston Matthews is still a highly scrutinised player, particularly in the very high standard, passionate market that is the city of Toronto. He is obviously an exceptional player and he's often benchmarked against Connor McDavid, who of course is just out of this world. But I think it's undeniable that the value Matthews adds to the team is completely necessary. I, of course, am a massive Auston Matthews fan. Anyone who knows me will know this. But I do genuinely believe that he is a pivotal part of this team and he needs to be there in order for them to find success. Auston Matthews definitely holds a lot of weight in where the Leafs' future is going to go. But unfortunately, in a salary cap era, the money that he is worth is going to take up a considerable amount of the Leafs' available money. A team doesn't fully rest on one player, and if that was the case, then Edmonton would have won the cup last year. But they didn't, because it's a team sport. However, the gap that the Toronto Maple Leafs would have if Auston Matthews weren't to stay would be huge. It would be unfillable, and I don't believe that there's any player they could fill that gap with, meaning that they need to pay whatever the cost is to keep him there. I know Matthews has faced a lot of scrutiny, especially for his post-season performance. However, I do believe that the season just passed there, his playoff performance was definitely better than it has been, and throughout the whole season I felt that defensively he really improved a lot. Obviously everyone knows that he can score goals, and even though due to injuries and just other factors he didn't put up the same amount of goals as the season previous to that, he definitely is a very offensively skilled player, but he seemed to really up his game defensively too last year, making himself more of an all-rounder, which of course is important for any player. So yes, all in all, the Leafs need to get an extension sorted for Matthews. He can't be walking to free agency. That would be a disaster. However, in terms of the team that we have right here and now, first of all, the goaltending. So there's 3 goaltenders signed for the Leafs right now. We've got Ilya Samsonov, Joseph Woll and Martin Jones, which I think this third signing of Jones seemed to throw a lot of people. I truly think that they're signing him with the aim of wanting him to be a third string goalie, not as a backup. Do need to remember though that both Samsonov and Woll don't have previous experience of playing a full season worth of games. Samsonov should absolutely be the first starting goalie. He should be the starter, 100%. However, neither him nor Woll have played that many games in a season before. So obviously last year Matt Murray was taking on a lot of the games, Shalgren also took on a lot of games. So as long as those two can stay healthy, then they're definitely a solid tandem. However, ideally having Jones as a third would be great. He adds a level of depth that means if there was injuries to come up, which is highly probable, it means that there's sort of security that otherwise just wouldn't exist. Jones brings in veteran experience, but he's definitely not in his prime anymore of playing, and I can't see him being a backup. I really think he's there for depth, and that's where the Leafs are going with this. Again, the cap and just the roster limits are a problem here, but we're not talking about that today. In terms of forwards, Nylander is completely necessary to the Leafs team. I know he is the easiest option to trade and that he could free up considerable cap space, but he is the most consistent of the core in recent years. He puts up good numbers all year, his stats are consistent all season long, but still he is always the target of trade conversations among fans. I don't get it. I love Nylander. I think he's completely necessary for the Leafs to have. And while yes, the money is an issue, Trading Nylander should be a last resort. I would hope that it would only happen if all other options had been exhausted, because he was one of the main driving forces last season for the Leafs actually finding further success than previous years. Mitch Marner needs to recreate the same magic that he did during last season, but preferably take it into the postseason this year. He definitely fell off the bandwagon in the postseason just there. I wasn't impressed with him at all. However, during the regular season, he was definitely consistent. Some of his plays and goals were amazing, and he needs to recreate that this year. Otherwise, I don't know what's going to happen. The addition of Tyler Bertuzzi saw a 1-year $5.5 million deal happen between the Leafs and the Bruins. He's not the biggest goal scorer, but his on-ice presence and his strength is definitely something that I think the Leafs were missing before. He definitely fills a potential void that the Leafs had, and I'm really excited to see him play. I really like him. And also, it's not necessary for him to be scoring the most amount of goals, because the Leafs have Matthews, Mitch and Nylander for that purpose. In terms of defence, I'm a big Morgan Rielly lover, and I think he is one of the most outstanding players on that team, and he's usually one of the most underappreciated as well. Sometimes defensemen can slip into the shadows because they're not the one putting up points and scoring goals, but Morgan Rielly truly is one of the most consistent guys on the team, and I absolutely adore him. Jake McCabe's physicality is definitely something that the Leafs need. I'm not sure how much of that he's shown so far, but I'm hoping that this season he's going to really add in that area. The Leafs are often perceived as a soft team with no physicality, so he's definitely someone that needs to be bringing that to the table. I still have concerns about the Leafs defensively, just compared to what other teams are offering in terms of defence, but it's too early to tell, and we'll see what happens. There's definitely some promising players in there, but I still have concerns defensively. This year's additions of Ryan Reeves and John Klingberg are interesting. They bring a veteran presence, but how much use is that going to be in a game that is just increasingly gaining pace and speed? I'm not too sure. You don't want a team that's too young because you lack experience, but you also don't want a team that's too old because they lack the speed, and often a lot of them are going to retire. So you definitely need a balance of the two, which I think the Leafs have definitely gone for here. There's veterans in the team, there's still a young core. Overall, I think this team has real promise and real opportunity to go even further than they did last season. There's definitely some concerns, unanswered questions, and as I say, this is a very early look at the team. This could change drastically between now and the start of the season in October, but I wanted to do an off-season look at the Leafs. And if things change, then I will just do an updated, more in-depth version of this, so if you would like that, let me know. But anyway, that is all for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below, how do you think the Leafs are going to do this year? And as always, I'll be back soon with more hockey chats from across the pond. Bye guys.